This is exactly why I didn't want to do this song, man.
Welcome to another episode of Talking That Talk official podcast. I go by the name of King Exodus, aka X.
What's going on, Walt? It's your boy, Sean. Look, I said my government now. I'm messing out Juice, aka the Ordinary Brother, aka a Rising Pharaoh.
Alright, as always, be sure to tune in to the episodes that we have on our platform. Subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe.
And as always, shouts out to everybody that's tuning in via IG Live.
Mm-hmm.
We do this every Monday night and every Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so
might pick up another day. Might get 3 days a week. You know, it depends. I need donations.
You gotta work.
I need donations. I need donations. I need my donations.
So, interesting topic we got tonight. We're gonna talk about Black Fatherhood, man.
Black Fatherhood versus other.
Yeah, versus other groups and whatnot. And we're gonna, blend in just different manhood kind of things. And I feel like, being that we two young black men, we gotta kind of, have certain kind of conversations. Feel me? So hopping right into it, I would first say, I think black fathers get the most pressure based on all kind of results.
Okay.
Even shit that's not in their control.
Okay.
And of course, a man has that role, period. It's not a knock to other groups. But I think it's just some things that we have that's separate. Like, before I even hop into that, I think the biggest fear black fathers have is something simple as like police brutality. You know what I'm saying? You could be a black father that's responsible, doing your thing, taking care of what you need to take care of.
Correct.
You get pulled over by the wrong cop, you out of there.
Out of there.
You know what I'm saying? And then you seen some black fathers get killed on camera in front of their kids by the police. So I think that's something that, we share versus, other groups of people is your life could be taken away illegally, legally, in various ways, but that whole police stigma situation, I think that's something that we carry the most. So I'll let you take it from there.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start it off like this. Do you feel like the black man is the most wanted man on earth, or is it the white man?
I say we the most wanted, the most and the most hated.
Okay.
I would say that. And it's weird because we don't have a history of pillaging people's villages and taking over their cultures and
raping
and
killing.
just terrorizing the fucking planet.
You gotta remember, man, whoever won that war got to write your history.
Right. So I think that's most definitely we the most hated just off the bat. If you got money and you a black man, we automatically assume that you had to get it from sports and entertainment. You couldn't just attain it through other means that's legal. And if not, then you sell drugs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
that's the go-to.
Yeah, so you couldn't just been smart, did your thing, and legally.
How many packs you flip? You know what I'm saying? Okay. The reason why I wanted to start off with that, because then when we start hitting more different categories on this subject, we'll start having an idea of how you and I think alike or how we think different. So when it comes to black fatherhood, pertaining, let's just say being a black man, we got to remember a black man has more enemies than he has friends, right? Even his own kind is technically not even his friends, right? I don't know if you ever seen that picture when there's a cop on one side, he's like, I don't like you, nigger, and then there's a black guy on the other side, he's like, I don't like you, nigger, and it's just a black guy just standing there, and both guns are pointing to his head, and that's the reality of what we kind of go through as black men. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of unity. It's like us against each other as well as other individuals. Now, yeah, it gets deep. And it was this one picture, man. I have it on my phone, and it's very deep, right? So it's a mother that's about to give birth to a child, and with it, it has everything in the world that stops a black man, right? It's hands out, right? So one hand you see a red bandana, other hand you see a blue bandana, one hand you see a football, one hand you see a basketball. It's everything pertaining to the stereotypes of what a black child will be in the minute he's birth. So I was like, man, that's crazy. So when it comes to this black fatherhood or being raised as a man, we gotta remember there's a lot of stigma that's about us before we're even there, right? That's why they like, if you ever see kid commercials, they're like, he's always a sweet, innocent boy. until he becomes a teenager. Then everything changes, right? You know, that's why the commercials, they're always cute. They're cute as babies, but they're dangerous the minute they become older. And that's the crazy part, right? You know, going through that stage where we're all appreciated, we're adorable, we're lovable, and then as we get older, we go from adorable to cute to be like, okay, we got to be careful, we got to be cautious, we don't know what he's up to. Like, it's just, the older you get, like if there was a way, like we do a timeline from a baby, and it's just like, oh, he's cute, he's adorable, oh, he's growing, he's getting big, oh, I don't know, he's getting to that age now, he might be trying, like, it's just literally what you go through as a black individual.
Right. Okay, so most definitely, like I said, we got the whole police stigma situation out the way.
Right.
Another thing I think we share is versus other groups is, I would say a lot of times we already labeled before we even like engage in a lot of things. Like,
definitely,
I think people already suspect you to either be a deadbeat, a child support case, everything but, you know what I'm saying, somebody's gonna take care of business and step up and do what's necessary. And then you have some black men that do step up in situations where biologically they don't have those children, but they step up and then they play those roles. And then some people will always remind them how they're just a stepfather. So it's like,
hey, what's going on, Tim? I'm sorry. Like that. We talked about that last time.
Yeah,
you could be the man of the year. You're like,
but them ain't
kids. Kids.
So it's like, when do you win? But I do think we already labeled to fail in fatherhood before we even get out there. And some people can say it's because we probably had kids young, but everybody had kids at young ages. That's
we're just more projectile.
Exclusive.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Especially media-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And my fault, I didn't even talk over you, man. I was gonna get on what you had just said. You know, there's a different level of appreciation of stepfatherhoods in different cultures, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we say in the black community, it's just like, oh man, them not yours. You have, I didn't see Caucasians, Hispanics, and white men. They'll wear that stepfather shirt and be like, yeah, and what? Like, I do this. And then again, you know what I'm saying? As X once said, when you have a child and it's yours, it's your responsibility. But if a man steps in the picture, take care of your own kids, he's a superhero. And that should hit me hard because it's really true, right? So, but like I said, we've on this stepfather role right now. So the men outside of other communities, they get praised for that, like crazy. Right? I said they'd be happy to wear the stepfather shirts, the be in a picture with. I just seen pictures with the whole Caucasian family. It'll say like mom, dad, stepfather, stepmother, and they all taking pictures, smiling. I'm like, man, it ain't none of that going on with us.
Look, if you at a game, he one of them outside the gate, the other one sitting.
Yeah, one's at the gate.
You can't go past the gate.
They might be on the orders. Hey, look, man, they might be on the opposite end, cheering for the same team. We're on the same team. I'm like, yo, what's going on with that? You know. And we got to talk about. Let's go ahead and get on the respect to it of being a father, man. Would you say it's anywhere near the same? Anywhere near the same? Right? I didn't see.
Nah, it's not.
It's not.
And that's because of imagery. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't see, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really pay attention to it, like after the Cosbys and all these shows in the 90s and shit, early 2000s, you really don't see too many, like, black families, you know, with the father in the house. And, you know, you really don't see that too often. So that will create a false sense of reality that we really don't have black fathers. Because if so, why don't we see it publicized? But you see on the flip side, you see, you know what I'm saying, other groups, you see black fathers in the household, the family setting, you see that, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's media manipulation because, I mean, there's some people that I knew that grew up without a father, and then there's a lot of people, black, that I know that had their father at home or had him active. Right. So everybody don't share that narrative of being a bastard, so to speak, just because you black, you know, your dad automatically got a picture. So I think the respect level too in-house, we fucked that up as well. Not us as the men, but the family setting. We destroy the importance of manhood in our families. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see people in black families emphasize manhood to a level that is needed You know what I'm saying? In order for everything to function. Sometimes we have women in our families that run everything. You know what I'm saying? We got the big mama scenarios, and then we got the aunties that step up and, you know what I'm saying, pretty much get that respect. So sometimes we do it to ourselves in-house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate when people say shit like, where they make it seem in conversations that black fathers aren't a necessity in the household. The conversations is like, well, you're not needed, you're optional. You know what I'm saying?
It's like that with dating right now. So I did want to jump off feedback off what you just said when it comes to Big Mama and stuff like that. Would you also say, is it possible men just don't really care for keeping the family at whole? The reason I said
some do, some don't.
But the reason I said that is because we always hear about the mothers and stepping up and making sure everybody's good. Men I have seen, I will personally say, it's not.
Bad guy cape on this one.
Man, I don't care about. I don't care about doing that. Man, I'm about to do all that on this episode. We gotta get deep. We don't really see that within the black community and the culture because men look at it like this: hey, take care of yours, I'll take care of mine. We be good. We'll stay in contact, but they're not actually looking at like, all right, when we gonna do the next reunion? When we gonna get everybody together? Like everything's at a set location that people keep in mind, more so of what's agreeable amongst the women, right? For instance, my grandma's house has always been the house we go to for every holiday. Everybody knows to come there. And then if it's ever volunteered from another person, then it's always on a common mutual ground amongst the women. Like, okay, we'll do it at your house. You got a new place. Let's welcome everybody in it so everybody gets familiar within the area that you just moved into. So that, you know what I'm saying? It's like that more so. The communication when it comes to situation scenarios like that. That's why I asked, is it more so because men are okay with like, hey, we keep contact with each other over the phone, we necessarily don't have to see each other, or it's just women just naturally do it because they're more family oriented, and that's just, if you want to say, genetically able.
Alright, so I think what I'm saying is like, okay, there's gonna be certain things that certain people do more so than others. If we're talking about like planning and organizing shit, most likely women gonna do that.
Sounds like a big problem.
You know what I'm saying? So, but what I meant was the respect factor. Like everybody know, you don't disrespect your mother, you don't disrespect your big mama, you don't disrespect those people. But it seemed like fathers in those same scenarios. Well, hey, if he was wrong, he was wrong. You don't hear the emphasis on never disrespect your father. So, for example, even in the TV show Power, Kanan's mom is toxic as fuck towards her son, but people still respect her character.
I'm your mother. I'm your mother.
On the flip side, Marvin is a fucked up parent as well. So he got in his daughter's face, said something to her that she took emotionally wrong. He didn't disrespect her. He was like, oh, so you some kind of girl faggot now? And then he disrespected her girlfriend. She spit on him. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, social media didn't go crazy, you know what I'm saying? It was like nothing happened. And then if he got rough with her, and some people was like, he was wrong for that. And I'm like, she spit in his face. So going back to the conversation.
But then, hold on, I gotta be a logical person real quick. But would you say he didn't disrespect his own daughter by first attacking her with the words that he used?
It don't matter. Because
okay, hey, look, baby, I'm just
and I'm saying it don't matter. Like, I'm gonna be a bad guy.
This is gonna be good episode.
And the reason why it don't matter because in the black family we say mama can do anything, no matter what she does. Your mama is still your mama. So no, I'm not gonna make it any different with him. But what I wanted to bring up in the conversation was like, I know black men that's older in age. A lot of them have that submissive edge, like to where even in their marriages and their family, they couldn't really run it or control it because they was like, hey, I don't want to upset my wife.
Oh yeah. I don't believe that.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't believe that.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
you can't really get at me. I don't believe that.
That's what I'm talking about. Inside, we destroyed that just from the household, from the families that's not broken. A lot of those men really don't get to exercise any kind of authority, really, because they don't want to
put their masculinity down, put their foot down.
Yeah, masculinity is not always accepted from us, even if it's done properly.
But see, that's another thing I was going to say. It's amazing when we see roles of other individuals outside our races exercise masculinity, it's done correct. But when we see ourselves exercising masculinity, it's necessarily like it's wrong. Like, nah, man, that's kind of toxic. You shouldn't be doing that, right? So one of the situations there is when they said never disrespect your father, man. I gotta go back to Black Mafia family, right? BMF. Mm-hmm. You got the son Michi who's stepping in the picture. Like they said, hey, look, you're making money doing something. Mm-hmm. Michi had the currency to pay off the mortgage, right? His daddy couldn't do it the whole time. They're behind. The mom's working, they're working. He's like, hey, look, let me just take care of y'all. And he's so prideful, like, no, don't ever do that. I'm your father, don't do that. But see, it's amazing when, whether it's legal or illegal, we have scenarios where our kids can help us out, but we're too prideful to let them step into the picture because we hold that title, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm a king and he's my prince, I'm not trying to give him the role of king yet. So I don't want him to do anything in the picture that makes him seem as a valid ruler and authority figure. So he felt disrespected when he found out his son paid off the mortgage entirely for the whole family, instead of looking at it like, well, okay, we got more money now, we can save and we can probably put it towards that the sister that's still in the high school at this time. I'm kind of looking at it like, yo, it's a lot of scenarios like that where people want to be like, yeah, but that's drug money. Hey, fuck all that, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta remember, people only go these routes when there's not enough money, and that's the truth of it. If there's things that's plentiful in that family, everything's being supported, everything's being anchored and wired correctly, they're not gonna look at making money any type of way because everything's provided right then and there. So going that legal route would be much more easier. Now, I also put on the flip end. You have people who are in scenarios and situations where their family has 100% control over finances, everything's established and stuff. Yet, they be like, taken care of, and you decide to do this and not be like them. The flip side of that would be like, well, look, they got access to the money. I don't. So I'm trying to get it as quick as possible, right? Like I said, I've seen both my whole entire life. That's when people be like, yo, man, you went to jail? You from Clear Lake. Hey, you from Pearland. You from Cypress. What? And it's confusing to them, but if you listen to them, sometimes those situations where everything looks perfect on the outside is not really perfect on the inside.
All right, one thing I wanted to bring up on that is I agree, but sometimes I don't think that shit happens out of ego with like fathers and their sons. Sometimes, man, testosterone is just some shit that, like I was having this conversation with a family member, and we was talking about, like, you know, how can, like, men in the family hate on their family, you know what I'm saying, other men, and it's like, I was like, yo, testosterone just flow. That shit ain't got no morals to it. It flows. Mm-hmm. Once that shit flows, it's telling that man, I'm the king of this shit, and ain't nobody else gonna be the king. And even if my son step up, sometimes it just ain't his time yet. That's just really sometimes it's ego, but that's testosterone. You know, you have some men that can't be in friendships where they homie outdo them on a business venture or competition or whatever the case is. So sometimes that's why Dame Dash said, yo, like, really, I spend a lot of time around women. I don't spend time around men because of testosterone. Yeah. Every man want to be the boss. Everybody want to show they got the biggest nuts. So, you know what I'm saying, sometimes it may be harder, you know what I'm saying, for black fathers that probably really feel like they kind of don't have their nuts as much as they should already. You know, you're already the low man in society. You know what I'm saying? You already had that stigma of wearing that disadvantage. We talked about the respect factor, right. And then you hear your son come in, you know, can pay your mortgage. It's prideful and it's arrogant, but at the same time, that would take a lot for a man to be like, all right, son, I'm gonna let you. Like, I gotta give him a little something on that.
But I'm just saying.
Plus, he trying his hardest and he failing. So
yeah, he failing. There's behind the household foreclosure and all that stuff. So I'm like,
so he going through a lot. Like I said, I can't really just be like, he's just dumb. Because I'm like, okay, I kind of see a little bit.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you another scenario. Like I said, I got a whole bunch of stuff for this. My favorite book right now, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Mm. He talks about the subject of his father, basically saying there's a period of time where they go through the rite of passage, basically the rites to step into manhood. In order to do that, you have to basically show him, hey, you're man enough to take him on, or you're man enough to be on your own, right? So a scenario that happened within the story, his older brother, his rite to passage was his pops wanted him to go out and do a job with him, but he just basically got an account to that job. Basically, they were doing this thing called stealing pipe, right? So he said, "Nah, man, I'm not doing that no more. I just got his account." He's like, "Oh, so you too good enough for your boy? I'm the one who got you that job, so you can disrespect your old man now, huh?" So his rite to passage was he had to beat up his own pops in order to be the man that he is, standing on his own feet, because his father felt disrespected that he wouldn't do what he asked. But he didn't understand, like, hey, I just got his account. I'm moving up in the company. I'm the one who's helping everything out, move forward. But it wasn't being looked at that. Like I said, it's everybody has a different right to passage when it becomes a man, and it's evolving the son to the father, right? The way they explained that, the way they explained that, I liked it was, they fear their father. But it wasn't fear as in like, oh, you're gonna do something bad. It was because they respected him so much. And that's not within the household of like what we talk about when it comes to these black families, right? Because the stigma, like, you gotta remember, the stigma already is you're a black father already. So something pops off the cops, oh man, we already know what we're going for. It'd be scenarios where you're already targeted and you might not actually really be the target.
Right.
But it's just because you're now in the fatherhood and the manhood position of that house, you know exactly who to go for. So some of the shows you was bringing up.
Just one more thing before we leave that part. Kind of going back to what we was talking about with the father on BMF and the whole testosterone thing. Something that just popped in my head real quick was, think about it. And a lot of these shows, from Power to Raising Cain and BMF, all these things, a lot of time mothers really don't share that same, like if the son want to step up and take over financial burdens, in these same shows we see the women don't have those same struggles. And it's not necessarily because I think they're smarter, because truth be told, we give black mothers credit for being more protective over their children than black fathers in a lot of scenarios. So when these mothers do it, I think it's coming from, okay, the lack of having the man that they want present, being able to do particular things, but it's not a battle of testosterone now. So they can let a prince step up and be a king even if he's not ready. It's no, like Juice was just saying, the man made him go through a rites of passage. The woman, like, okay, the rites of passage is, if you can step up and get this done, I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah, regardless of what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's no testosterone battle, so, you know what I'm saying, you see that more prevalent and more often, you know what I'm saying, with black mothers and their sons versus black fathers and their sons. It's easier for you to step up with your mother than it is with your father in certain situations, because the testosterone battle isn't present. It's not, you know what I'm saying, you can step up in those situations. And that's weird, because in those scenarios, some people will be like, hey, tell black mothers, hey, you putting too much responsibility on your son at a young age. He need to stay a child, stay a boy.
Right.
It don't get the backlash. It gets praised, like, you know what I'm saying? It's weird, but it's toxic. We have to let these black boys enjoy their childhood and be boys as long as they possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Because when they rush into manhood and all these things too early, premature, they're gonna possibly fuck up more so in their adult life because they didn't get the child experience before they got the man experience.
Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback off what you said. So let me say this. So the women and men who ask their kids to work in order to help out with financial burdens, Are you saying they should stay a child and watch the family struggle and possibly break down, or should they just tell them, hey, help out so the family can still be established? So basically, how long do you let them stay a child before letting them know, like, hey, we got some issues going on at home and we can use a helping hand? Or do we just focus on, we're going to figure this out, let them still be a child?
I'd say at least give them today, I'd say at least 15, 16 at least.
That's a average employee at 16 years old.
But still, they shouldn't know the financial burdens of the household, and they shouldn't really just get too involved in that. Right. They paycheck should be going towards maybe one responsible thing just so they can practice responsibility. And then, like if they pay their own bill, cell phone bill, or, you know what I'm saying? Some people will be like, hey, you get your first job, pay the water bill. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Mm-hmm. Just so they can get a taste of responsibility, but they're supposed to enjoy their money. Learn responsibility, but still enjoy their money. If you fail as a parent financially, I'm sorry, your kid don't have to cut their childhood shorter. You just gotta work harder. You go get 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? 2, 3 jobs and do what you need to do.
Something just popped in my head though. But you made the comment about Wu-Tang. Mm-hmm. You said the mama was always working and never present. Within that child's life, which also caused the situation of an older man stepping into his sister. So if the parent is never home, how can they be a parent?
Well, see, that's that double-edged sword.
Hey, look, I'm asking these questions.
But to elaborate further on Wu-Tang, the mother also put the burden of her daughter being a mother around the house while she wasn't present. Which led further to the older guy, because when girls get the responsibility too early and they don't get the recognition for the work that they're doing or being a child, it's easy for an easy man. Literally, the only thing he said to her was, hey, I see you. And she was just like, oh my God, somebody sees me. Because she feel like a mother that's not being appreciated as a mother, but she's not a mother.
Yeah.
So when this dude came through and he say, look, I see you, that's all it took. So I don't believe in people putting their kids in grown situations just because you fucking up on your end. Don't cut their childhood short because you can't make shit happen. Whatever you got to do. If you don't sleep for 2-3 days a week because you're so busy, do that. Yeah, you can't be in the household because you're working so hard. But at the same time, you still can communicate with your kids when you have the availability. You can make the availability even if you don't have that much time. You're going to miss out on some things, and that's cool. Like, one of the people that I really learned a lot from that I respected was Monster Cody. For people that don't know, Monster Cody is a OG Crip from California. And he wrote a book while he was in prison. And that pretty much, that put him on a whole nother pedigree and level in life. People couldn't believe that this man was this articulate enough to write a book while in prison. You know what I'm saying? So the dude got a lot of, you know what I'm saying, respect. And that was his story. His father wasn't at home. His mom was always at work. So the hood raised him. You know what I'm saying? He from A-Trace. So, yeah, okay, you work so hard, you're not in the house. That's cool, but it's like when you are in the house, what do you do with the time? Some people work so hard, they come home, work was stressful, whatever the case, I just want to tune out. I don't want to be bothered with my kid, get the fuck out of my face. That's not, once again, that's not your kid's fault that you had to work so hard and you tired from work. They didn't ask for that. You still owe them some kind of one-on-one time. You still owe them communication. You still owe them experiences regardless of how tired you are.
All right. It sounds like everybody hates Chris Dad right there.
Man worked 3 jobs, and still sat down and ate dinner with his family.
Yeah. They still have to be back up in it now. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's get some more avenues right now. What about, let's come to the financials when it comes to being a black father versus other, fatherhood communities, right? Is it more important that the black man must be the breadwinner within the family than it is in other communities?
honestly, I don't think it's that important for other communities.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we both watch Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Our agreement levels are at different peaks, but most definitely, man, we live in a world where black women all want a man making $200,000 a year.
100.
And it's not all of them, but this is the popular opinion. This is the popular representation, because
this is what's being pushed.
We fell in love with the rapper and the athlete so much that we want to live that life so bad that we're not even in the real world anymore. We don't value the middle class. We don't value any of that shit. It's like, hey, look, I need, sole provider, but they got to be able to provide this.
They got to be this tall, this.
Everybody else don't go through that shit.
No.
Kevin Samuels bring up a famous example. He say, look, I'm gonna just say Hector on the corner, or in the Home Depot parking lot, that just get paid cash for doing shit, whatever he can do that day. Right. He still go home to love and respect.
Love, respect, and honor.
You know what I'm saying? Black man go to work. You know what I'm saying? Come home, make 70, 80,000 maybe. Shy of 100. You know what? He still get disrespected. He ain't shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a very different reality. Even sometimes you can produce more than somebody from another race. So
right. So it's interesting. The reason why I wanted to bring up that is because that seems to be one of the biggest targets that's going on right now is financially. Like, the black man has to do this, got to do that, got to do this. And what's interesting is they used to do the test saying, hey, women make less than men, right? Say that women make less than men, and then they found out like a lot of information got debunked. But at the same time, they never talk about the colorism rate and pay rate on the scales as well. But now it's a little bit different now because there's a lot of cutting fat off to a point where work ethics do get appreciated and rewarded. So, but it's still interesting. I always tell people, look, if you can't live the life that you want on your own, why are you putting so much pressure on the next individual? You should at least be happy that somebody wants to unite with you and bring your dreams to reality by y'all doing it together. But everything's so focused on individually that it's always overseen and overshadowed that, oh man, they gotta do this, they gotta do that. I was like, and I said, I had a date with this young lady, we don't talk no more. So, and in her mind, she was programmed to, hey, 40 hours is 40 hours for me. It doesn't matter how much I make. You need to be the one out there busting your ass as a man. I was like, that's interesting. So a woman who makes $10 an hour is still asking for a man to bust his ass 60 hours, 80 hours, and provide for everything else that goes on, and you're not worried about anything mentally. Like, it's amazing that she was very biased to the situation when it comes to men and women versus reality and how she feels about it. So a lot of it didn't even make sense as we're talking. But in her mind, 40 hours is good enough for any woman. You need to be out there busting your ass 68 hours as a man. Make sure I'm good. Make sure, what I'm saying. It's weird the focus levels that goes on in some of these relationships, right? Even before this episode, we was watching like this quick little TikTok video, and there was a woman on there. She was talking about, let me get this right. You want a man to work 80 hours a week and still take care of you and everything else. So before that man got with you, he was already taking care of himself, but now you're asking him to take care of another person as if you're disabled from helping out and pitching in as well. So we don't talk about the mental stability that goes into working as well. Myself, I'm clocking in at least 12 to 15, maybe 16-hour days. X does the same thing. And remember, we do this on the side, so this is still work for us. All right, sitting here, coming together, coming up with ideas and talking, you know what I'm saying? Talk to you motherfuckers and shit. This is still work, you know what I'm saying? So it's, I guess you could say it's a different strive level into each man. Mm-hmm. Now, good friends I have, Middle Eastern, we'll say that, Middle East, Muslim, we'll say Muslim, Caucasians, Hispanics. There are some guidelines within their community. I can honestly say, hey, the man needs to be able to make this much. But at the same time, if he doesn't get looked down upon. And it's interesting because my friend, one of my Asian friends, and his wife, there's literally only a 10,000 gap difference between them two, right? But the woman actually makes more, but she still comes in and does traditional things. And I was like, and that's another thing I was gonna bring up. Does the cultural impact also have the biggest influence on how we treat women and men in relationships and fatherhood? Because I gotta be honest, I don't know what would be considered the African American culture when it comes to the family household. We don't never talk about it. We just know man and woman, this and this role. But we can't say that because it's never projected 100%, not even in movies, not in anything, right? It's just the standard, man does this, woman does this. But there's a different preaching going on when I hear from the Asian community and from the Hispanic community. Like, I have a homegirl, she was like, us Puerto Ricans, we're proud to serve our men. Like they say shit like that, let you know, like, damn, this is how they was raised. Like, they put the ethnicity or the culture impact behind the way they move for their men.
And this go back to what I said earlier. Sometimes we destroy ourselves inside out. We haven't updated our family structure in the black community since slavery.
Like, man, can I get some? I've been talking, bro. We really don't have no culture. Like, when it comes to the family household.
Updated the system. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got a computer, a cell phone, and you never had an update.
Right.
Maybe 1 or 2 or some shit like that, but we have not updated the system. And you have a lot of women were like, men back in the day did this.
Men back in the day.
But then when you start telling what the women did.
Women did. Oh, no. Women was
that's too much. I ain't going for that shit. So we got that pick and choose mentality when we want to go old school.
Right.
But if we go old school all the way, then let's be honest, y'all not going to fuck with that either.
Not at all.
So the system just needs an update. And then we don't employ group economics, we don't employ economics, but it's like I always stress that in marriage and everything else, because society is not set for if the average black man make 40 to 50,000 a year.
Right.
Alright. So
and bringing home about 25.
Right. So you got to make at least about 100 to be a comfortable sole provider. All right. So it's a big gap.
Yeah.
So and then moreover, 70% of women have to work after they give birth. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So we're not looking at statistics and economics. We just living off this spoon-fed bullshit that you cannot validate with information. We're not employing information. If more than 70% of women got to work, we're looking at the economic standards and all this shit. It's gonna say 2 incomes are needed for survival.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? Period.
2.7 million to retire. I mean, I ask people what they have IRAs and ROAs right now to get to retirement. People don't even have that shit.
And that's why I was talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, and it's weird because black women idolize Beyonce for everything else but her marriage. I'm gonna start a super chat, man.
Super chat, put your choices in that one.
You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to her marriage, that's when she don't get the idolization. And even Jay-Z, you know, he say shit was better than 1 millionaire too. Especially when he got the same hue as you. And you have a hustling couple.
Right.
Y'all look at the hypergamy. Oh, well, she had less and he got more. And you just only see the hypergamy. You don't see the hustle.
Man.
So you're going to pick up one H and not the other.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You're going to pick up the hypergamy but not the hustle.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? If they can do that at millionaire status, what's your excuse why you can't even do a little overtime?
Sure,
or even work 40 hours?
What they about to say, man? You can look at Cardi B. I love Cardi B so much. She didn't have a child till she was married. Like, I give her that. She didn't have a child till she was married. Their career's still going and they still make money together and separately, right? That's what y'all don't understand is people who unite, they get shit done. They don't mind, like, hey baby, look, you can still do your thing, I'm gonna still do my thing, we're gonna bring it back as a collective and then we're gonna invest into our children. Like, y'all don't look at it like that. It's okay, the man here, alright, shit. like all the hustle, all that shit drives. That's why career women kind of confuse me on that when they be like, yeah, I don't want to get married or be with somebody, they're gonna slow me down. You don't know how that other man gonna fucking act. You don't know how that man gonna act. If anything, a woman who has more drive and more abilities to capabilities to want to do more, that drives men like me wild, right? Y'all don't understand, like, driven women, ambitious women, determined women, and career path women, y'all still have power within the most simple men who look to do things like that, right? You might be sitting there like, yeah, you know, I'm very goal-oriented. I want to enter this company, hit a couple levels, then branch off. You don't know, you planting seeds inside that man's mind, like, you know, what if I can help her do that? Or what we can do is that y'all be so scared to unite and, you know, lock arms with a man that you think it's gonna stun everything, right? This is the crazy part. Women are scared to settle down, and men are scared to be used. But at the same time, it's like, well, what if take place? You know what I'm saying? What is that? Some men fear marriage, women feel relationships because it slow their career down. Like, it's interesting that nobody looks at it like, what if both of y'all are the same and y'all got together and nothing changed, and everything just really took the fuck off because that was two of y'all now.
Bro, one powerful thing I'm gonna bring up on this. What two? Kim K. Everybody say, okay, sex tape, that's what made her. But, and it's a lot of black women that watch the fucking Kardashians.
Right.
Once again, she never stopped hustling. She hustled. Even though other women in her family hustling, they got money. She kept hustling. She hustled. She got with Kanye. She keep hustling. Okay, Kanye was a millionaire. He went broke. Bankrupt.
Right.
Now he's a billionaire. But Kim was the person that bailed him out of debt.
She made a board game.
You feel me? So you're missing it. Just because you get a successful man or a man's man, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Just because they have it now don't mean they're gonna always keep it. And if I fall off, I need you to be able to help me the fuck up. If you depending on me all the time, I can't never depend on you.
I said in an episode.
Yeah. So,
I was like, I don't.
But then another thing that I was gonna bring up too was going back to Cardi and Offset. Black women gotta stop listening to other black women because
they do the opposite.
The shit would be like, oh, he cheated, bitch, leave him. You stupid for going back.
Yeah.
She went back though. Now they on their second kid and they still married. And they still got money going to that marriage, that last name, that bond, that black family. So that's all I'm gonna say. Sometimes y'all gotta stop listening to me. Stop following the hype.
Right.
Of you don't want to go back or you don't want to fix your shit that's fixable. You know what I'm saying? Only because you don't want to look stupid.
Fixable.
But when a man chooses his ego and his pride, oh, he's just fucking foolish, arrogant asshole.
He left his family.
Men.
He left his family.
Men. You know what I'm saying?
He left his family.
His pride. Men. Pride. But women have that same pride.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You got that same
It just
pride.
shows in different ways. But yeah, I give her, I applaud her, because even though people are stupid, whatever, blah blah blah, she still got her family though.
She still got a family.
Yeah.
She still got a career.
Yeah. I mean, ain't nothing else came out about dude. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Maybe the shit worked.
Right.
But we don't applaud. We don't applaud peace and repairment. We don't applaud that. Right. We applaud people when you fucking destroy and leave. We bitch.
Yeah, man. You should have let that motherfucker alone. We always talking about that, man.
Yeah.
So let's say we talked about the finances. Let's also get on. You know what? I'm gonna do something interesting, right? You know what if the roles are reversed, right? I have actually witnessed some of my homeboys that were actually at home while the women worked. They were the one, but see, this is the thing. They were also the ones,
House husbands.
House husbands, you want to call it that? The fixture. They made sure the lights was working. They were carpenters. Some of them was like carpenters and stuff like that. Like they had some skills and stuff in that world. But I felt like that was interesting seeing it in different aspects, right? Why is it in other races that would be appreciated? In our world, is that nigga's a bum. like if a man's at home all day, he's considered a bum, no matter if he's actually doing things towards the household to keep it updated, established, or is it because he's not bringing in currency?
I would say it's because he's not bringing in currency. Like even if he brought in less currency,
right?
People would shit on him, but it wouldn't be as bad. You know what I'm saying? They go back to the movie Acrimony. the guy had a plan all along.
All along.
For 20 years he failed, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was at it for a
failed. And everybody was shitting on the marriage because she was bringing in the currency while he was just working on his dream. Mm-hmm. And I agreed that he was wrong for that. He was dead ass wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could work on your dream, that's fine. We all got dreams.
Right.
But you still need to bring in some currency. Your wife out there working 2-3 jobs and shit to cover up your bullshit, and you at home with a fucking dream. Like, no. Okay. We need some currency.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Currency is important. Okay.
But I gotta say, like, every man, especially black man, you know, we want this whole image of I'm a king, and you know, we attach king to everything.
King and queen to everything, you know what I'm saying?
We call each other, you know, we the original man, we God on earth, and you know, and all this shit. When you say shit like that consciously, you got to put in the work behind it, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I get tired of just hearing that these days.
You can't just be
man.
like, you know all this history where you come from, your ancestors. Tell me about
do what your ancestors did. They built.
they built shit.
They built shit. They made shit happen. They formed units. They had empires. They had alliances. Do stuff. If you're gonna be a king, do king shit.
Yeah.
That's how we let me do a catch line. If you a king, do king shit. Like we're not doing that no more. I'm just calling you king just because to uplift you. Cool, I'm gonna uplift you, but go out there and make some things. I'm gonna hold you to a standard. Yeah. I don't want to address it. If we can address this other, king and so forth, let's make sure we act in a manner, right? Mm-hmm. We sit at that round table. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Everybody plays a role at that table, and that's the alliance within that table. Mm-hmm. So everybody's a king. We know everybody that's a king that's at that table goes back to their empire and handle shit, right? That's why y'all don't understand. Like when you used to forming groups was all about the mentality. Like everybody here is a boss. Okay, cool. When we leave here, make sure you're still a boss before coming back to the table, right? Because if you're a boss only when you're present, then it's gonna show up that you other shit when you leave, right? That's why I used to be like, hey man, like you hard when you around your homies, but you soft when you by yourself. But that's a prime example. Like, don't be like I'm a king when you with other kings and then you're a peasant. No, you better stay. You got to stay in that same stature and manner at all times.
Yes, and then go back to like, yo, we got to keep it 100. Like, as black men, we got to hold black man accountable. You know what I'm saying? Harder than any other man out there in the world or woman or whatever, because you are responsible for your brother to a particular extent. You have to step in and check people when they wrong. You know what I'm saying? And we talking about sitting down at that table. Like imagine if we had an empire right now. Juice at one side, I'm at one side. Let's say it's 2 other dudes.
Knights at the round table. That's what they would call it.
And let's say we in one nation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's say like North America is our nation. Whatever. So our continent. Some people.
We're in different regions. We all run each different
trolls.
region.
I'm ready for you trolls. So let's say one of these kings is weak. All right, now we can get invaded because we have a weakness in the group now. You know what I'm saying? And after so many invasions, you know what I'm saying, we might not be able to hold up. Now everything gets taken over because we let a king sit at the table with a fucked up empire. So it's like, yo, this whole mentality of as long as my shit's straight, fuck your shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? We gotta dead that mentality. Like,
there you go.
You have to have a collective mind state at some point. It can't just be as long as my household good, my family good, that's all that matters. But I'm looking at fucked up families and I know the men that's in these households. Hold these motherfuckers accountable, man. You know what I'm saying? And if holding somebody accountable, destroy whatever y'all got, then fine. That shit ain't real anyway.
Right. So that's when your round table would also be called a multitude of counselors, right? Why we say multitude of counselors? Because each individual there will actually help you get to another stage. Hey, bro, you need a place to live? Okay, look, there's these people right here. If you sweep and clean at that hotel for at least a week or 2, they'll give you free rooms. Hey, you need transportation? Look, I know somebody that'll do this, right? That multiple, because everybody's counseling that one individual to help get them back and reestablish, right? That's why it's so important to know everybody's strengths and weaknesses. That's how you get them better on track, you know. And that's the only reason why you survive longer, right? And every empire, every big group, there's a fallout because of communications at that round table, or people let other people get in their ear. like you got to be able to dead that. Like everything has to be out in the open, right? That's why we used to do these things called locked in with a couple of me, some people back in the Gap. We would stay locked in that fucking room until everything got straight. We in there like 2 hours, an hour, 30 minutes, 3 hours, 4. Oh, nobody leaving. Nobody leaving. You got something on your back about that individual, it's gonna get addressed before we leave there. Because then, if we have a meeting again, and it was still on the table, and if you didn't let it out, you wasn't gonna come back to that. You wasn't coming back. Because now you're bringing in more aggression. Like no, like we're not about to fuck everything up for us.
Yeah. And I gotta say, man, that's facts. And then too, I think one of the biggest things you struggle with fatherhood is like, I constantly deal with that fear of like, I don't want to add another black statistic to the world. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? And even if it happens in certain ways, like, you know what I'm saying, co-parenting, whatever, like you can't control every aspect.
Right.
But it's like, that pressure is on me because it's like, if I fuck up and add another statistic to the world, it's like, the pressure of failure is just 10 times stronger. If a white guy or Chinese guy, whoever, if they kid ain't shit, it's gonna be like, oh, it's nothing. It's plenty more successful people like that that's in the world. So, I mean, you know, it's a whole different vibe. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say black women don't carry that fear as well, but we're talking about fathers tonight. So,
the motherfuckers disown their kids quick. Let's not get that confused.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing. But yeah, man. So another thing I go on with when it comes to fatherhood and different, like I said, within a black household, as well as different other family structures, is what about the ability to produce? Now, when I'm talking about produce, we're talking about to be able to execute 100% as a man, right? That's what we talk about all the time, like moving with no crutches and stuff. See, one thing I learned about other cultures that I also like paid attention to is like, even if that man didn't move as effective, he was still effective through their eyes, right? It's, you know what's crazy? It's like, let's just say hypothetically, your pops was a bum, right? The way everybody within that family would still speak of him in a highly manner is so it wouldn't take the mind of that child when it was time for them to be a father. Like, yeah, my father was this and that until he learned out the truth, right? That's why you ever heard them stories like, yeah, you know, hey, Pop's on a field trip right now. Pop's on a field trip for 4 or 5 years, man. 4 or 5 years, right? But anytime you ask about him, it was more stories like he's doing this, he's doing great things and this and that. Like, wow, he must be doing so great that he can't come home right now, right? But we can always look at it as telling lies to an individual, but at the same time, you can be inspiring that child's mind to want to be more effective at the same time. So I feel like that's another thing, like the ability to produce is you don't have a lot of people who produce on a higher note or even on an average note, but they'll still keep the level of fatherhood so deeply rooted and important that it will instill something within that child and make that child be effective as the next producer within that generation.
And I mean, I agree on that. There's nothing else I can add to that. One thing I wanted to talk about is like, when we look at this family structure of the man being the sole provider, I think somewhere in the black community, we start thinking as black men, it's so much pressure just to do that if I do that, my job is done. And you know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
Right.
That's another comment right there.
I'm throwing the money out. Hey, you take care of the bills. You take care of the kids. I'm finna go sleep. My job done. You know, I'm finna watch football. I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Once again, following these family structures that haven't been updated. You know what I'm saying? So your time and attention is still needed just as much as your currency. You know what I'm saying? You still have to show your household that you are a father, you're present.
Correct.
You still have to teach and do things. You know what I'm saying? So they go back to like people like Malcolm X and great men. But you know what I'm saying? It was said that sometimes these great men, their children really didn't experience a lot of their greatness because they were so busy. Even if it was in a good spirit and good intent,
Intense.
you still have to take care of both to where both have your energy equally. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You can have a TV show where a dude, a cop, I mean, he a badass cop. I mean, he got his TV show and everything, but the wife is like, can you please just, can you stay home tonight? You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, look, man, so I'm undercover. I've been undercover for the last 3 years. I can't come home.
Right.
Like,
so
what's that movie with Jamie Foxx? And they went through a whole divorce and everything. I've been undercover. Yeah. He said, I've been undercover for the last 3 or 4 years, and she didn't understand that, so she divorced him and everything. They understand that when the case was closed or they were trying to come in on the family, then it's like, oh, okay, I finally understand what you mean. Like, damn, this is what it's like to be a sole provider, right? So even when Kevin said was talking about, he's like, y'all want these dudes making all this money. This man is never home. That's really true. Mm-hmm. These men are never home. That's why if you want a man to be a sole provider, that's why they want a traditional woman, because she's at home with the kids at least. Because if I'm out here doing my purpose, living out my dreams, being affected to the world, I'm not going to be with the kids as much, so their mother should be there for them to tend to them. And when I'm able to come home, I'm going to be with the kids, but it might not be as much. And that's one of the biggest things people don't understand. Like, it's people be like, yo, I want a person making 200, 300, 400, 500,000. That's why I love the fact when Kevin Samuels talks about this, he's separated from business, from entertainers, and that's a completely different ball game. The people who really make that money, they're always busy. Versus entertainers, they can take days off and be at home with the family. You know what I'm saying? When they're not doing concerts or doing a film or something of that nature, they have time to be home. Versus the ones who have to constantly produce in order to maintain that living and that lifestyle structure. That's why it's brilliant to me. Like, you get the real aspects, right? If you're not dating somebody that's in the entertainment industry that can possibly have that time, possibly have that time, you're going to have to deal with the reality of what a real top 10% upper class man will be doing.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Good water right there. Good water, ladies and gentlemen. Are y'all doing the show?
All right, so we can pretty much wrap that one up. I think we hit pretty much every key point. Once again, the topic was Black fatherhood, manhood, and how it's, separate and different from other groups.
Hold on. I gotta hit you with a curveball real quick. Mm-hmm. Do you think when it comes within the Black fatherhood community, or when it comes to Black fatherhood, we try to adapt to other people's cultures and bring it within ours, right? So, remember when I said, hey, I look at Kevin Samuels like the gatekeeper, right? He talks on a level of basically, let's say, the gentleman aspects, as if he was a white man, he would blend in 100%. To me, from the examples I was raised and how he dedicates himself, I would be like, if he wasn't black, I would think he's 100% white, if I never seen a skin color. Mm-hmm. So even the whole adaptation of his whole character, his image, the way he talks, he speaks, the cologne, the dresses, the appeal, is not, besides he's an image consultant, it's the whole culture. Mm-hmm. It's 100% embraced. Mm-hmm. So do you feel like black men go through that culture phase of trying to figure out, do we make our own culture, or do we bring another person's another culture from another whatever?
I think the problem is we don't do it enough.
Don't do it enough?
Cultural diffusion is always a positive.
Okay.
When you looking at call them common customs, when you are actually trying out different things to see what works, because obviously what we've been doing isn't working.
Exactly.
So we have to rewrite the narrative. We can't do this. I hate when people be like, well, my mom or my daddy did this, so I'm gonna do the same thing, or I was raised like this, so I'm gonna raise you. You gotta break that cycle. You have to find out, why did those people raise you the way that they raised you? Where did they get it from? Then once you analyze that, how does it implement into your current success? What value did it bring you? What cons did it bring you?
Yeah. Then
we gotta say, okay, well, let's add that up with today's generation. Let's look at what they got out here, and let's see if that's even applicable to my children. Okay. Now I gotta brainstorm and figure out if this is worth implementing into my household or not.
There you go.
So I gotta look at how the quote unquote white man move and the Chinese, all these different groups move,
Right.
because I need to see not just where I'm disadvantaged at, but I need to see what they're doing right, because every state of success for black men is not based on because you're at a disadvantage.
Right.
You feel me? So if other people are winning, you need to see how they're winning.
Right. Be
And-
able to
Right. You have to study your opponent in order to win. That's, you know what I'm saying, that's art of war. You look at any kind of war tactic, that's implemented. So yeah, most definitely, you have to study other cultures. You can't be so stuck in your own little boxing world, especially when other people are winning.
Right.
If they women respect them more than you get respect, I need to go see what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? If he's able to have less and still get more respect, I need to see what he's doing. And if this person just constantly, consistently making money, I need to see what they're doing. Like, you can't always just learn from your peers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta step outside that box. I don't want to be too long-winded on that.
Man, no, that's cool, man. I was gonna say, like, that's how I live my life. I always tell X, like, I like to select different things from different cultures, races and ethnicities, whatever you want to call it, and implement it to my lifestyle. Right. One thing you know what? One thing I really have seen for myself, unless it was a holiday, is everybody actually sitting down eating dinner together. Like some simple stuff like that. Some people got in their house like, hey, Mondays everybody at this goddamn table. Like, you know, it's certain days they'll select certain things, right? Like Saturday was supposed to be the day of rest, then it became Sunday. You know what I'm saying? It's things like that. People are like, okay, Sunday, we know it's family day, fun day. That's it. Nobody else coming there. We're doing fun. Like, it's things we got to be able to implicate and put into our families. That if it's effective, let's put it into our household structure as well. That's why I talk about the relationships, right? You might have people who fall in love with like doing different things, right? I said you might have a couple who do Eskimo kisses, and some people are gonna be like, well, that's kind of weird, and then other people are like, you know what? That might work with us. Let's try that. You never know what can actually work within your family if you try it. That's why some people. I remember I went on. Just trying to look at the most effective ways of parenting or just being a better person. I would just take like the stats and statistics, like for instance, like listening to an orchestra, like Bach and stuff like that. It's supposed to help relax the brain and with the frequencies and the connections and stuff. Like stuff like that in the morning. Like Warren Buffett says, he starts his morning off by reading every morning to get a little advantage, a step ahead. I remember when I started doing that, I literally still have a video on my phone saying, man, I see why Warren Buffett reads books in the morning now. Like, it makes you look at the world kind of different, and you haven't even left your house yet. So that's what the idea of mine is, to be able to take other things from different cultures, ethnicities, races, whatever, and implicate it in your life and get it done.
All right, good job.
Yeah,
we're gonna check out on that one.
You want to check out that one?
Yeah, that's a good episode. As always, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Talking That Talk Official Podcast. Thanks to everybody that tuned in via IG Live. We will be back Wednesday night.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a recap. So comment, questions, reviews, go ahead and get ready for that as we sign out. Peace.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.